Venom is a character that fans have wanted an appropriate adaptation of for years, especially after the character of Venom was less than well received in Spider-Man 3. Now that Sony finally has a chance to give audiences another chance, the rumor mill has been turning like crazy. Sony has been very open with the details as they develop on Venom. A lot is still left up in the air, as some is being kept under wraps, but that doesn't stop inside sources from leaking details, and it certainly won't stop fans from speculating on the possible details. Here's everything we know for sure about the Venom movie, and several rumors that have come out since the film was announced. But before we get started, don't forget to swing on over to that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things CBR.
You're gonna pay. From now on, we're poison to you, Spider-Man. That's why we call ourselves Venom.
Truth. Tom Hardy is Eddie Brock. With movies like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and more recently the Emoji Movie weighing down Sony Pictures' reputation, there wasn't a lot to be excited about for a standalone Venom movie. That is, of course, until the announcement that Tom Hardy would be playing Eddie Brock, the original Venom.
Who are you?
It's Brock, sir. Edward Brock Jr. I work at the Daily Bugle. And I'm dating your daughter.
We're pretty excited with this casting decision, aren't you? Not only is Tom Hardy an extremely talented actor, but he also has a tendency to pick really good roles in really excellent movies. And he apparently enjoys wearing face masks. We're looking at you, Mad Max and Bane. But seriously, we know he will bring a great intensity to the role of Eddie Brock that we were lacking in Spider-Man 3. He's a big name right now and has his choice of basically any kind of project he wants to make. So he doesn't need to make a bad movie for an easy payday. This probably means that he really enjoyed the script that he read before signing on, and has a lot of passion for making a great movie. At least we hope so. We have a lot of faith that Tom will bring much needed justice to this character on screen.
They're bonding. It's replicating and mutating the molecular structure of its own DNA. It's actually improving on the host organism.
Host organism? That's what I am to this thing?
Truth. It begins Sony's movieverse. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? Well, when you've carved out a pretty successful franchise as a studio, others are sure to follow. As is the case with almost every other studio today trying to copy the success of Marvel Studios, Sony Pictures is definitely no exception. They still maintain the rights to Spider-Man and all his associated villains, but the deal with Marvel Studios only prevents them from having creative control on Spider-Man films. They plan to craft their own, but unconnected, universe with Spider-Man's villains and allies, which makes sense since the Spider-Verse is full of rich characters and storylines that fans would love to see.
Rhino and Shocker? How'd they get together? Computer dating?
The Sony Spider-Verse will kick off with Venom and quickly be followed up by a Black Cat and Silver Sable team-up film called Silver and Black. But wait, there's more. Down the line, Sony has announced plans for separate films following Spider-Man villains like Mysterio and KRAVEN the Hunter, as well as the Sinister Six, and possibly other massive crossover films, depending on the success of these attempts. Who would you like to see from Spidey's world on the big screen? We wonder how deep they'll dive into Venom's story. Wouldn't it be great if these characters made it over to the MCU at some point soon?
It's a symbiote. An organism that thrives by bonding with another.
In this case, me.
Truth. Carnage is the villain and it's rated R. If Tom Hardy's casting wasn't enough to get people excited about the movie, then announcing the villain that Spider-Man fans have been begging for sealed the deal, especially after announcing that the film would be rated R.
And you're the main course.
Carnage is one of the best decisions Sony could have possibly made in regards to the Venom movie. Again, this is only presuming that they actually get the character right. Carnage is a sadistic psychopath whose only drive in life is to cause pain and chaos. This is one of those rare occasions when making a character relatable or sympathetic would be the absolute wrong direction to go in. Carnage should be a character that is genuinely frightening and unsettling to the audience, and one that could only be done justice if given an R rating. Since Fox's success with R-rating superhero films like Deadpool and Logan, Sony is apparently itching to try this new formula out for themselves. Venom and Carnage are most definitely characters that could thrive in an R-rated franchise, but again, only if they remain true to the character. These two are truly terrifying, especially Carnage, who we know is on a whole nother level of scary. Let's hope we get the story we've been waiting for.
Spider-Man, enjoy your fame while it lasts.
Truth. It's not part of the MCU. Ever since it was announced by Sony, the Venom movie's place within, or without the Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to have constantly been in flux. Our hearts were eagerly awaiting some good news. In an infamous interview with Marvel Studios, executive producer Kevin Feige and Sony executive producer Amy Pascal stated that one of the fun things about Venom was that it takes place in the same universe as Spider-Man Homecoming, and that there's always a chance that Tom Holland will show up somewhere. Be still our hearts, can you imagine how cool that would be? But alas, it was not so. During the interview, interview, Kevin Feige looked notably confused during her comments and later went on to say that she had misspoken and that Tom Holland would not appear, nor would Venom ever appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as these were entirely separate universes. Pascal later went on to confirm those statements, so don't expect more crossovers anytime soon. We don't know how much more of this our hearts can take. We still hold out hope for a crossover. If it turns out that Venom becomes lucrative enough, there would have to be some sort of crossover chance, right? Right?
Venom! Yeah!
Truth. Spider-Man will not appear. Since that interview, the notion of Tom Holland appearing as Spider-Man has been shut down, and our hearts crushed along with it. But does that mean that no Spider-Man can make an appearance at all? After all, Sony still owns the right to the character, so it is likely that they would be well within their rights to put a CG version of Spider-Man in the background at some point, right? Or maybe even hire another actor to portray the web-slinger for their line of Spider-Verse films. Maybe not the latter. There's too many Peter Parkers in the cinematic world already. Andrew Garfield's contract with Sony was through 2020, so they could even bring back his version of Spider-Man if they were so inclined. However, director Ruben Fleischer and writers Jeff Pinker and Scott Rosenberg have all stated that at least the first Venom film would have no appearance from Spider-Man in any capacity. A bit disappointing, but let's look on the brighter side. We have plenty of Spidey films to keep our thirst quenched. Plus, that means they can focus the entire screen time on telling Venom's story. Let's get this awesome villain the epic film we've all been waiting for. Rumor. Black Cat and Silver Sable. Marvel Studios has almost a decade to build up their cinematic universe, and they know how to take their time in between massive crossovers, but studios who are just jumping on the boat now aren't content to wait so long. You gotta strike while the iron's hot, or so they say. That's why the second film in the DC Extended Universe was a Batman-Superman crossover that also featured Wonder Woman with cameos by the rest of the Justice League. They should have waited and created a much better game plan and spent a little bit more time developing their story, but that's a whole other subject for another time. If the rumors are true, then Sony won't be wasting any time setting up their crossover universe either. Who knows what will happen in 10 more years, and both Black Cat and Silver Sable will make appearances to set up their upcoming film, Silver and Black. From a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Neither Black Cat nor Silver Sable has the kind of name recognition that Venom has, so bringing them into a Venom film is a good way to build up hype for the future.
Dude, I got this! Oh yeah!
Rumor. Flash Thompson will appear. Although Tom Hardy has been confirmed as the original Venom, Eddie Brock, rumors are circulating that other Venom hosts may be making appearances. And we know Venom has had many hosts. One name in particular that has been showing up is Flash Thompson. Yes, that's right, Peter Parker's high school bully.
My former bully, the guy who's picked on me through most of my life, just turned into Venom.
Locker time!
He's actually one of the later incarnations of Venom who exclusively fights alongside the good guys as Agent Venom.
Hey, easy, bro. I just saved you. I'm on your side.
You are?
How cool would it be to see the symbiote fight alongside the good guys? However, that might be too much for the first movie. Maybe in the sequel? More recently, there have been rumors that Eddie Brock's ex-wife, Anne Weying, will be featured in the movie. Another one-time host of the Venom symbiote. Sony likely wants to be able to continue making Venom films for some time, so they may already be putting plans in place for the symbiote to eventually leave Eddie Brock and join up with another human host down the line, opening the door for a Venom Space Knight or Agent Venom film in the future. If they go that route, there are plenty of options in terms of hosts. Looks like we might have quite a few sequels.
I'll take those. Mine now.
Rumor. KRAVEN and MYSTERIO will show up. Now that the Spider-Man universe is a hot commodity again thanks to Sony Pictures' deal with Marvel Studios, Sony has decided to throw everything they have at the wall to see what sticks. Sounds semi-tactical, right? The topic is hot, might as well give it all you've got to see what works. Some of these sticky ideas include future plans for a KRAVEN the Hunter movie, as well as a MYSTERIO movie, all without the appearances of Spider-Man. We wonder how well these will work without their titular character. Can they work as standalones? What do you think? Just as Sony is planning to set up the future films of Black Cat and Silver Sable with appearances by those characters, rumors have been circulating that Venom will tease the future of Sony's villain universe with cameo appearances by KRAVEN the Hunter and MYSTERIO. Cameos galore! We hope it works out better than Spider-Man 3's messy plot with multiple villains. That is, of course, all setting up for Sony's grand plan for Sinister Six. But it all remains to be seen if the plan can succeed without any Spider-Man. We think if done well and with a good story, there's definitely a chance of success, don't you? Rumor. Andrew Garfield may have a cameo. Okay, we know this could sound like a far-fetched rumor at first glance, but there are a few things that suggest it could be a possibility. Bear with us. First of all, we know that Spider-Man won't make an appearance. However, plans were in place for a Venom solo spin-off way back when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was still in production. After it was a critical failure, plans for a Venom movie along with the rest of their cinematic universe were put on hold. We know, we're still bummed out too. However, Andrew Garfield is still under contract with Sony to appear in any in-universe film throughout 2020. Since Venom was fast-tracked for a 2018 release, Sony may be trying to strike while they still have their former Spider-Man under contract. Having two different actors playing Spideys could get a little bit confusing, but since it's not linked to the MCU, continuity might not matter. But you might be thinking, it's been confirmed that Spider-Man will not show up. Yes, we know, but that doesn't preclude the possibility of a cameo as a nod and a wink to his role as Sony's Spider-Man, right? There's no harm in that. What do you think? Rumor. Gotham's Jerome will play Carnage. With such a well-known character as Carnage, the role has to be cast perfectly. The right actor has to bring the right amount of terror to the character, so it shouldn't come as much of a surprise to hear that a lot of actors' names have been thrown around for the role of Carnage. Since the announcement that he would be the main antagonist against Venom in the film, casting directors have been looking for the perfect Carnage, some of which include Watchmen's Jackie Earle Haley, Firefly's Alan Tudyk, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Doctor Who's Matt Smith, Pedro Pascal, and Matthias Schoenaerts have all been reportedly in talks for the role of the sadistic serial killer Cletus Cassidy. Who do you think would make a good Carnage? While many of the names have been shut down by the actors themselves or their representation, one name that has continued to persist from the beginning is Cameron Monaghan, who has most recently become well known for his role in Gotham as Jerome Valeska. He is kind of a pseudo-Joker character that shares a lot of parallels with the insanity and ruthlessness of Cletus Cassidy, Carnage. Sounds like he's pretty much got the role down, don't you think? Well, there you have it, folks. Those are some of the truths and rumors circulating about the Venom movie. We've been excited since we heard this movie was happening. Which truths are you excited about? Which rumors do you hope come true? Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments below. While you're here, don't forget to like and share our video. And if you enjoyed this one, check out more awesome vids from our playlist. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.